Finally, I want to tell you about what's probably going to happen to your marriage. I see we have some married couples here. Some marriages go through some really dramatic changes once the kids are gone because all that distraction is out of the house. I did, however, interview a couple of women, you're going to love this story, who decided they didn't want to live without children at home. So when the youngest one was a senior in high school, they got pregnant again. These are like biological superwomen. Both of them that I interviewed, by the way, had the same husband. So it was the same husband. So they're sending one off to college, they're moving one into the dorm, and with the other on, they're nursing the infant. So basically, 36 years pass, a whole chunk, 36 years pass from the beginning to the end of the time that they don't have children at home. But I don't think we need to go to those extremes.
No, the homestay program is a lot less.
Right, right. So here's what's probably going to happen to your marriage, and this is based on my research. I like to compare a family to a circus troupe. Mom is juggling the chores and juggling work and hot flashes and whatever else she's having. Dad's clowning around in his big shoes, and the children are running around in circles. That's kind of the star attractions. They're playing basketball, they're doing dog tricks, they're bouncing basketballs. It's stressful, it's very distracting, and when the children leave the circus, the husband and wife are left all alone, standing in the harsh, bright circus lights, just the two of you. It's a really radical and incredibly dramatic change, and it can be very intimidating. So marriages take basically one of three paths when the children leave. First, they're the upswingers. And these are people whose marriages actually get better once the kids are gone. They find they're thrilled to be on their own. Many wives in these marriages discover that all the time and attention and affection that they'd been funneling to the children, now they can funnel to the husband. They also confess, a lot of the wives come out and say it, you know, my husband has been on the back burner all these years while we were raising the kids. Now we have each other's undivided attention, and we love thinking about what we're going to do next. And the husbands, by the way, this does not go unnoticed by the husbands. The husbands notice this. The second path...
Finally, my turn.
Yeah, my turn, exactly. The second path are what I call the even keelers. These marriages don't really change all that much when the kids leave. About a third of marriages are even keelers. A 52-year-old mom I interviewed from Buffalo had been married for 25 years and said, "Our life is pleasant and serene and calm. We can do what we want, when we want, and we have so much less to worry about. My husband and I always had a strong relationship, and we always made time for each other even when the kids were home, because we knew when the kids were gone, it would just be the two of us again. So our relationship always came first." Some dads say they feel pretty much the same as they did before the kids were born. And I had a lot more dads than you could possibly imagine saying that they were glad that the kids were gone because now they were walking around the house with no clothes on. They don't exactly look as good as they did before the kids were gone, but they're still walking around naked. And finally, the third path that some marriages can take, and this is the minority, about 1 in 10 marriages become downsliders, and these are the ones who basically don't survive the children's exodus. It's almost as if there's no oxygen left and the relationship just suffocates. One woman told me, this is really, really bad, on the second Thursday in September, it was like a week after they dropped the youngest off to college, the husband told her something was missing. He walked out the door and they were separated. Another woman said, "We spent so many years taking care of everybody else, we just never took care of each other, and now it's too late." So one mom knew her marriage was doomed when her daughter left. She started sleeping in the daughter's bed. So, and another mom told me that they couldn't even afford to separate. And so what happened is she just started a life on her own. She would go to the zoo, she would go out to lunch, she would do things just by herself without her husband. Some of the things that people in this marriage say: we don't enjoy each other's company, we have nothing in common, we watch separate televisions. So as long as this is not happening to you, you're in pretty good shape. And of course, this doesn't apply to single moms, because single moms, basically, they have their nest is even emptier. It's just them. In fact, but one of the things that happens to single moms that's really surprising is that their social life skyrockets as soon as the kids leave, because they don't have, they don't have the teenagers looking over their shoulder anymore about who's coming home with them, where they're going, what they're doing. So for some single moms, this is an enormously great time of life, one that they really appreciate. By the way, single moms are more likely than any other kinds of moms to say that their sexual desire actually goes way up once the kids are out of the house. So before I leave, I just want to offer you some concrete tips. Right now, what you can do when you drive out of here. You say goodbye to your child if you haven't, and then you leave. I want you to think of the next few weeks, really the next few weeks, as a test of your flexibility, your determination, and your resilience. Nearly every minute of your child's day from now on is going to be an adventure, and so will yours, even though you're sleeping in the same bed and you're doing the same work. But yours is just as much of an adventure, although it won't cost nearly as much as your child's adventure is costing. I want you to think of this kind of adjustment.
We can't afford it.
Yeah, that's right. Think of this as an exciting challenge, not as a devastating tragedy. It's kind of like one of those Chinese finger traps. Did you ever see those? They're sort of made out of straw. And the only way that you can escape them is if you keep pulling them apart, they won't come off your finger. You have to push in, and then they come off. That's what I want you to do now. You have to learn to let go of your child by relaxing into the challenge of being apart, not by pushing and tugging at her and trying to keep her close to you. You really have to let go. So here are a few letting go rules, okay? And I'm sure your children would approve of this. The first rule, and the most important one, don't call, okay? Do not call. You wait for the child to call you. When the child has something to say and is willing to talk to you, trust me, the child will call. If you have any of those peeing on the sneaker incidents, your child will call. If you really feel a need to be in touch, the best, absolute best thing is to email the child, because the child will be much more likely to be responsive to an email. You don't want to be in the situation in which I was, where it's very upsetting. You call the child, and either the child lets it go to voicemail, or you hear the child flip open the phone and then close the phone, so she doesn't have to speak to you. That's painful. You don't want that to happen. The other thing you can do that children are really responsive to, if they haven't blocked you on their instant message system, instant message them. And that way you can get instant feedback, even if it's only 3 or 4 words at a time about what he's doing, where he's going. My son has completely blocked me from his instant messaging now, so I can't do that to him. But my daughter lets me, so that's something. The fourth rule is it's your turn now, so you need to take it. It's your turn to live your life for you, putting you and your husband first and not the children. Call your friends and go out in the middle of the week. Go to a movie. Go for a walk with neighbors. Do whatever it is that you've been putting off all these years and you sort of wanted to do it right now. It's time to ramp up your social life. Whatever makes you happy, you should do it. And another thing you can do, by the way, is you can buy my book. It's called Beyond the Mommy Years. They've got a bunch of copies in the bookstore, and you can buy it on Amazon.com. You can also go to my website and read about my survey in really great detail, and you can even take the survey if you'd like. It's kind of like therapy, you might find. And that's it. So thank you.
Good. Thank you. Wow.